Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. So my name is Paulo and today we're going to be covering then living in the Netherlands, the pros and cons. So I'm actually outside just to remember myself why did I actually left the Netherlands. So today is actually a bit chilly, but normally speaking the weather is more or less okay in Spain, more or less, meaning always better than the Netherlands, of course. But nevertheless, stick around if you want to know more. I'm going to give you then the breakdown of the pros and cons of actually leaving the Netherlands. Okay, so stick around if you want to know more. Okay, so why did I actually left the Netherlands? And so I was working in the Netherlands for and living in the Netherlands for 3 years when I took the decision for actually to leave. And the decision was essentially around two main things. Okay, so one for personal reasons and the other one for professional reasons. Okay, so from a professional perspective, from a personal perspective, was essentially to be within a country that was more creative, with more quality food. That is something that I do like. And aside from that, was also a place that allowed me to be closer to my family. So I'm speaking about Belgium. Okay, so that was one of the main reasons why I decided to leave. Okay, so the second one was around the professional side of things. At this moment in time, I was already concluded, let's say, my shift from general marketing into the CRM side and marketing technology, and moving a bit more and more towards tech consulting. So with that said, I took the decision. I went for a higher job, a higher role, and also with a bigger pay. Okay, so if you want to know how to get a massive raise, that was my case at the time. Take a look at the link and where I share my best practices and tips and experience on how to get a massive increase, okay, in terms of your salary. Aside from that as well, at this moment in time, I was much stronger in terms of my career, in terms of Salesforce, and I was looking to go for a higher challenge and more focus on projects as well. So reason why I took that decision to move away and work at the global level. Okay, so also if you want to know how to get faster on your career in terms of Salesforce, I'm dropping there the link. Feel free to check it out. And if you have any questions with regards to that, I'm here as well for you. Okay. Also, the other thing that I was keen just to share with you, if you want to know what are the top things that you should actually consider when taking the decision to move to Belgium, check the link where I'm actually speaking about that, the top 5 reasons why you should actually consider and move to Belgium. Okay, so with that said, I will then move and wrap this part and move to the next one where I'm covering then the pros and cons of actually leaving the Netherlands on my case after 3 years. Okay, so stick around if you want to know more. Then start with the pros of the Netherlands. Of course, the Netherlands is an amazing country, okay, so it has its pros and of course it has its cons. Okay, so starting with the positive side, I would say that we need to start with the good quality in terms of education. Okay, has a few things that you need to consider. Okay, one of which is that the kids around, I think it's like the 6th grade, they need to do an exam in order to let's say to decide which kind of future they will have in terms of education, meaning will they go up to a bachelor level, master, PhD, or not even that far. Okay, so that is a kind of an interesting point. So I think in Germany you have the same, but they actually have it on the 4th year and not on the 6th. Okay, so but nevertheless, the education in the Netherlands is good. So I would count that as a pro. Okay, so the other point is around people and culture. Okay, so very open minded, very relaxed, I would say, and which that for me it's actually quite good. So the other point is around the fact that most people speak a very good level of English, which of course facilitates anyone that actually just arrives and is not that fluent in Dutch. Okay, Dutch is a very difficult language, but nevertheless, if you're looking to stay there, I would say that you should definitely get to know the language because that would facilitate for sure the ins and outs on the country. Okay. Aside from that, I would say that the Dutch society is a very rule-based society. Okay, so everything is quite clear, let's say on that front, which for me it's really a pro, because if you are coming from outside, you are not very, let's say, clear on what is it that can or not be done, what are the rules that you should follow. And then in the Netherlands, things are very, very easy to understand. Okay, so like completely in opposite from Belgium, where things are not as easy to understand. Okay, so aside from that, I would say that Dutch are very blunt. Okay, so that counts almost like a positive and a con. It's like a positive and a negative point. It depends a bit, because sometimes the fact that they're quite blunt is quite good, because it allows for you to have a clear view, a clear understanding. But sometimes they tend to go over the line and become rude. Okay, this is the point where I would say that you need to take an action. Okay, but aside from that, yeah, the fact that they are blunt, I think it's something, and direct, I think that's something that is actually good. So that actually connects with the fact that they are very open-minded. Okay, so they are open to different views, different perspectives, and I think that's quite good as well. So then the other thing is like the economy in the Netherlands, quite powerful, with loads of jobs opportunities, which I think it's quite good if you're looking to go for an international career, working at the European level or even at the global level. I think that's one of the strongest points of the Netherlands. Okay, so then of course this comes around with one thing that I believe now it's changing more and more, but nevertheless is still quite interesting. That is the 30% ruling. Okay, so if you want to know more about that, check on the link above, where I'm talking about the top 5 things around the Netherlands, and I'm gonna go deeper on that specific video around the 30% ruling. Okay, so but essentially is made for people that are coming from abroad, more than 200 kilometers, and etc. So there are loads of rules. So check that video for you to know more. And if you have questions, I'm happy to address them. Okay, so aside from that, what I would say is one of the things that I actually do appreciate more in the Netherlands, it's like the work-life balance. Okay, so Dutch are very respectful of the family, which I think it's really a plus in comparison, for instance, to certain countries. Like, for instance, currently I'm living in Spain, and here it's a bit different. Okay, on that front. Okay, you feel a lot more pressure, which is not the case in the Netherlands. People do respect your work-life balance, and also what I would say that it's quite clear for me is the fact that aside from that work-life balance, it's also a kind of the way that they have like this kind of working culture, very focused on efficiency and looking at family life, that both parents have to have time for their children, which I think for me makes a lot of sense. Okay, so I would say that essentially wraps things up, and for me those are the strongest points of actually living in the Netherlands. Okay, so stick around for the cons. Okay. Okay, talking about the cons. Okay, so to start from, I'm a mountain guy. I like to go hiking, and there is no way that you can actually do that in the Netherlands. They have one mountain, if I do recall correctly, an artificial one close to the border of Germany, 300 meters or something like that. But aside from that, not much more. Okay, so that will be one con for me. Then the second one is essentially around the fact that you need to schedule everything. Okay, so I do understand on the professional side of things, happy days, no problems at all, but you can feel it that you have a very strong kind of schedule mindset also for your personal life. So I'm talking about going and visiting your friends, going to the cinema. I remember that we needed to book things with 1 month in advance. So, like for instance, if you want to go to the cinema or to the theater, you need to book everything with 1 month in advance. But for me, that is a bit of I don't know, difficult one because I don't know if I'll be fancying a movie within 30 days from now. Okay, so that is one thing that it really was a bit of a strange feeling, and I never actually got used to that because I tend to think that everything that has to do with culture, the personal side should be much more organic. Okay, but nevertheless, yeah, it's just my take on this. So, aside from that, language, of course. So Dutch is very difficult, but of course you always have English. But nevertheless, I would say that if you're looking to move into the Netherlands, if you're looking to live there, you should definitely spreek een beetje Nederlands. Okay, I think you should really speak Netherlands Dutch, even if it's just a bit. Okay, and then you start to evolve your level, and of course, it's gonna be easier for you to communicate to people, to be integrated, and so forth. Okay, so that will be one thing. So the other point that I feel that is a bit of a con for me, this actually has a kind of it has two faces, let's say, to the same point. One part, I feel that is quite positive, the fact that the Dutch are blunt. Then the other part is that sometimes they tend to confuse being blunt with a bit of rudeness. Okay, so my advice to you will be whenever they cross the line, you need to make them understand that that is happening and that you are not happy with that. And normally speaking, they will understand. So I think that should be okay. Okay. Aside from that, what I feel that is a bit of a con for me is like going shopping. Okay. So coming from a country like myself, like from Portugal, where you can actually shop all year long for almost like 24/7. It's difficult. Okay, so in the sense that, for instance, in Portugal you can actually go shopping at 10 in the evening, 11 in the evening. You don't really need to plan a lot for that. While in the Netherlands that is not the case. You need to think that, and if I do recall correctly, it's like Monday, the everything will be closed during the morning. Okay, only after 1 o'clock or 12 will be then opening. Then Tuesday will be more or less of a normal day with Dutch schedules. Let's say. That said, it will close earlier, at least for me, and then Wednesday as well, and then you have a longer shopping day on Thursday or on Friday that would go up to 9 o'clock in the evening. Okay, so and of course this can be a bit of a challenge at first because even the weekends are not very extended. So therefore, there is always the other option that is to do online. Okay, that was. At the end, one of my solutions, so that's what I propose as well. Okay, but it's all about for you to actually to get used to that. Okay, so sorry. So the other one that of course is a con for me. It's not because of that I moved to Belgium and I forgot, but yeah, the weather sucks. Okay, so that's it. Nothing more to say with regards to that. Okay, then the other thing that I feel that is quite of a challenge is, and this is much more serious, is around the housing shortage. Okay, so it's really difficult more and more to get a house at a decent price. And aside from that, you need actually to, on some cases, actually do enter into in this kind of a bid system where the one that actually pays the higher bid actually takes the house. Okay, so I remember like living in Amsterdam and then in Rotterdam as well. That was a bit more of a challenge. So yeah, so that is something that I would say that it's not really, something that is actually good. So I would definitely classify this as a con. Then the other thing is that I would say that the other thing would be exactly that I feel that in the Netherlands, it's difficult for you to get to a position where you actually get to know the people at the deeper level. Okay, normally speaking, people are a bit more. I will not call them cold, but they have a kind of a distance kind of culture. Okay, so it will be a bit of a difficulty or a bit more challenging for you to actually to be at a position where you're going to be able to actually to go into having loads of Dutch friends. Okay, but for sure the ones that you have going to be good friends. Okay, so with that said, I'm wrapping up this one, so stick around for the conclusion. So the question is, do I actually miss the Netherlands actually after leaving the Netherlands? I would say that there are a few points that actually I do miss the Netherlands. Okay, so I'll give you one, for instance, is the fact that they have this higher respect around the work-life balance, okay, and all the respect around the family and that culture, and that is something that I really do miss, and I think that is something that is really valuable. Okay, so the other point as well is the fact that they have a very clear view, so it's a rule-based society. Everything is quite clear on the way it should work or not work, which I think it's really a positive point, even more coming from an expat, so someone that's from a foreigner, someone that actually is arriving to the country. It's easy for you to understand how is it that the country works. Okay, so I think that definitely that's a very strong point. Okay, then the other point that I would say that I would split it in two. Okay, so pre-COVID and after COVID. Okay, so I would say flexibility and working from home, remote working, hybrid working. Okay, those were realities that were already, I would say, quite normal between brackets in the Netherlands. Okay, and now they are more or less common all over the world. So I would say that if I'll be looking to a pre-COVID, okay, that would be something that I really would value a lot in the Netherlands, looking to a post-COVID era where that is more of a normality right now across the globe. That is no longer something that I do miss. Okay, so, but in a nutshell, do I actually miss or I do not miss the Netherlands? Yes, I do miss the Netherlands. Would I go back to the Netherlands? I would say not right now. And the reason for that is that I have Barcelona. Okay, so the weather is amazing. You have very good job opportunities. You can work from anywhere. So it's a very good place to be. But nevertheless, as I said, the Netherlands has very good things on its favor. So I would say that definitely so. I would go back to the Netherlands, but not right now. Okay, with that said, hit the notification bell, smash the like button, subscribe, and join me on this journey. And feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions whatsoever with regards to the Netherlands or even working on the Martech side, the CRM side, on tech consulting as well. Okay, so that's it, my friends. Take care. Enjoy your day. Take care. Bye bye.
Hallo, ik ga muziek doen. When I'm gone, when I'm gone.